In this video, we're going to be talking about building a hotel form. This is going to be a walkthrough for freeCodeCamp. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Rob. I'm a program educator, and I'm going to be going through this lesson here, this little lab that freeCodeCamp gives us. And I'm just going to go through it step by step. And it's going to be chaptered out down below, so if you need to skip to a certain step that maybe you got stuck on, then that might be your path to go. But we are going to go through it. We're going to learn a few things as we're going through it because, like I said, I have a teacher's heart, and I really want to make sure that you understand what we're doing in this document. Why are we doing it this way? So if that's something that is engaging for you to watch, then make sure that you like this video and continue on with it. All right, let's go ahead and get into the instructions. Okay, before we get started, please go ahead and hit the like button. It really helps out the algorithm. It's something that you can do for free that helps us out. All right, with that being said, step number one, it says in this workshop, we're going to be practicing working on HTML forms by building an HTML feedback form for our hotel. So this is what the form looks like, basically on what we are building out. Again, no styling whatsoever. And we're just going to go through this step by step. And the very first thing that we're going to do here, it says start by adding the doc type HTML. And if you've watched any of the previous videos that we had before, we know that this is telling our web browser saying, hey, this is an HTML5 file, and be prepared to render it as such. Okay. Next, it says we want to make sure that we have an HTML element. It does give us a bunch of attributes to use. When I say a bunch, I'm only talking about two. And inside the HTML element, we want to also add a head element. So again, a lot of things, but we're just going to tackle it one by one here. So we're going to do HTML, and I'm going to go ahead and close it off as well. And that way, I know what I need to add in between here. So it says that we also want to put a head in here, and head also gets a closing tag as well. And so we have two different types of tags. We have void elements, and then we also have normal ones that are open and closing. As far as the attributes go for the HTML, we want to go ahead and set that language to English. All right, and that should clear us for this step. So let's go and check our code. There we go. Let's move on to the next. Step number two. So it says inside the head element, let's go ahead and add a meta element. And with the character set, we want to set that to UTF-8. And then below the meta element, let's add a title. And we're going to title it with this right here. Okay. So first things first, a meta tag, that's going to be something that's more or less a void element. And so we're just doing type the keyword meta. And then in here, we want the character set, we want to set that to UTF-, and then we want to go ahead and put the tag that looks like it's opening tag, but that's all we really need for this part. And then the next thing, it says title. Let's go ahead and do opening closing title. And in the title, this needs to be spelled out specifically for that unit test. When I say unit test, when we click the check your code on what it's going to be looking for. So let's go ahead and check our code on this. There we go. We're moving on to the next. Step number three, it says to prepare to create something of actual content. Let's go ahead and add a body element below the head. And so again, this is just how HTML works as far as dividing things up. We have a head, we have a body, and we don't have a tail. But anything that you want to have seen over here in the browser preview, you're going to need to have a body, okay? And so that's what we're going to be doing here. So we're not going to see anything quite yet on the page, but we will get the step completed and we'll be able to move on to the next one. So let's go and check our code. There we go. Let's move to our next step. All right, let's see what we have to do for step number 4. So it says make sure that you like this video for PreCodeCamp. All right, let's make sure we do that. And then for the following introductory text, we want to go ahead and display the main title followed by a short note by leaving some feedback. So inside the body element, let's go ahead and add a header element. So let's do that first. And I'm going to go ahead and do opening and closing tags. You're going to notice that I'm always going to be placing these tags side by side that deserve opening and closing. And then I'm going to come back to the middle and I'm going to modify it as I need. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the enter key right here. And this allows me to have some proper indentation. Now, if you're utilizing things like Visual Studio Code or another IDE editor, usually the code editor will automatically put these indentations in here for you and keep you on track. But let's go ahead and see what we have to do next. So it says inside the header, let's add an H1 element. So I'm going to do an opening H1 and then a closing H1. And then I'm going to come back to the middle and I'm going to add in this text right here. So I'm going to copy it. So anytime, a little tip here, anytime freeCodeCamp gives you exact text to use, I would say go ahead and copy it and paste it, and that way you'll always get your check the code would be good to go because you spelled it exactly as you copied it. Next, it says underneath here, let's add a paragraph element. So let's do a paragraph. Again, I'm doing opening and close. I'm not putting any context in there in between it quite yet. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab everything that's highlighted in gray and paste it on here. So now we actually get to see some things show up on our little HTML preview window over here. So let's go ahead and check our code and see how that goes. Congratulations, we're moving on to the next. Step number 5, super duper easy. It does tell us that we just need to add a main element, which will represent the main content of the page. Now, something that's really special about some of these types of things that we've seen already, which is the header, and now we're getting into the main. And if we wanting to explore just a little bit more, I would say take a look at W3 School's semantic elements, and I'm going to pull it up right here. And you can see here that a lot of the things that we're utilizing so far, which header and then main, these things are used by developers to break apart a web page and maybe to tell the developer as well as the browser what needs to go inside of each thing. It's kind of like you're breaking a page apart. You can kind of see it up here, a little representation. You have a header, you have a nav section, you have another section, then you have some articles, you have a sidebar, you have a footer, and it displays some sort of logic flow and display that you were intending for the web page. Some of these actually are also for the impaired that need screen readers also. You could take a look at that on this page. So back to our problem. All we have to do over here is just go ahead and do an opening tag of main, and then we're going to go ahead and close off the main also. Let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. We're done with step 5. So step number 6, it says in previous lectures that you've gone through with freeCodeCamp, you've learned that the form element may look something like this, where you have an action that you can see here, which is the URL that will be used in order to send the data, and then we have the method, which is what type of method would you like to use for this, whether that be a get, a post, for example. And you're going to be learning about this later on, it says in later modules. But in this example here, it wants us to be inside the main element, which we are on line 16, and it just wants us to create a form element. So we're going to do form, we want the action, and we want to set that equal to this right here. And it does get double quotes on both sides here. So let me grab it and put it on the equal sign. Perfect. Next, it says the method. Let's set that equal to post. Okay. And then we need to go ahead and close this off. And a form does get opening and closing tags, so don't forget it. And to make that look a little bit better on your guys' screen, that's what it should look like. I just went ahead and moved it to the next line. Let's go ahead and check our code, and there we go. We're moving on to the next step. Step number 7 in the freeCodeCamp Build a Hotel form, it says that forms consist of inputs where you can input some data. You can group these related inputs together by utilizing something called a field set element. And here's an example that they provide us right here. And so, again, just looking at some code examples, trying to figure out what are we going to be doing next. Right here it says inside your form, which is line 17, let's go ahead and add a field set element. And we don't need the comment in here, however, since they're giving it to us and we don't have to type, I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it. And this should satisfy it because we want to have a field set with opening and closing tags. Let's go ahead and check our code here. And there we go. We are done with number 7. So we are on step number 8 of building a hotel form with freeCodeCamp. It says on here, when you're working with field sets, it's common to have a caption to maybe describe the group of inputs. So we can use a legend element for this. And when we're going to be typing this out, because we're inside of the field set, you're going to notice that up here, by default, the little text will show up in the square that we currently see, or the rectangle that we currently see around here. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab this from code to code, from legend to legend, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in there. And you can see we did in fact get the little personal information, and it is contained inside of that little border box that we see on there. So I think that's all we need for this one, and let's go ahead and check our code. All right. Moving on to the next. Step number 9 in building a hotel feedback form for freeCodeCamp. It tells us here that in the previous lectures you learned that you can associate a label element with an input like this. And what it's telling us here is that we see the keyword or the attribute here of for, and then we also see it being set to name. Okay. Now, in the previous lectures that freeCodeCamp had, it said that if you utilize the for attribute and you match this up with the ID of the input field, that's how you can associate them together. Okay, so the for name, the for attribute, needs to match the ID. And so I always say we could have named this thing pool party over here, but the ID over here has to be named pool party also for it to be associated with each other. With that being said, that kind of explains this next paragraph, but it says below the legend element, go ahead and add a label element. So let's go ahead and do that. Label, and we're going to close off the label. Now inside of the label, it says, let's go ahead and add the name required. So let's do that. I'm going to grab this. So again, anything inside of that gray freeCodeCamp expects us to type in there. And then the for attribute is going to be the full name. And I'm going to go ahead and grab quotes to quotes on there. And we want that key word, that key attribute here, for, and then we want full dash name. Then when it says it comes down to the input element, it wants no attributes at all. And we're going to be probably doing this in the next section here. So right below this, I'm just going to type the word input. And again, input is one of those void elements. It does not need a closing tag. And you can kind of see that, hey, right here we got the name required. That's the label. And I'm able to click in here and type, and that is the input field itself. Okay, let's go ahead and check our code, see if that's what they're wanting. There we go. Moving on to the next. All right, step number 10 on here, it says when a user provides their full name in the input, we need to accept it as plain text. So in the previous lecture videos, we learned that you have this type attribute that we can put inside of the input, and it gives us an example here. So for the existing input, go ahead and make it text. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste that and put that in there here. Okay. Next, it says also give the input element an ID attribute and make sure that it is full name. Now, this is the part where I remember telling you in the previous step that this is where the association happens. The for full name needs to match the ID of the full name. Okay. So something that you can do to test this out to see if you have the correct association is if I'm clicking on this label, it should automatically put my cursor over here for typing. And so as you can see right now, I'm clicking off of this and I'm clicking on the name and it doesn't do anything. But once we create this association, so I'm going to go ahead and do an ID equals, and then it's going to be first or full name. Okay. Now, if I click on this label here, I'm automatically pushing my cursor over to the input field that it is associated with. So now I know that connection is live and it works. I'm going to go ahead and check our code and see what we're going to do. All right, congratulations. We're ready for the next step. All right, so we just got done going through steps 1 through 10 in this video. We're going to have another video that will be following along with this video that will do the next group of 10 steps. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this, and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.